obviously, South Africa's case against Israel held hearings over the end of last week, Thursday, Friday. And so we wanted to just showcase something a little nice for a change. It's rare that there's good news, extremely rare that there's anything positive to report out of the whole Israel-Gaza news story ether. But here's a lovely moment outside of the courthouse. Here's the South Africa legal team being greeted by pro-Palestine activists. We're forever grateful for South Africa. Flowers and a card. Beautiful warm greeting by the fairly large crowd outside, as you can see the camera panning up. People kind of as far as you can see outside of the courthouse. Just a lovely sight to see there. Part of the significance of this trial is not just the sentiment being expressed in the courtroom and outside of the courtroom, but this is an example of organized resistance to Israel and to the West. It's organized, it's formal, it's coming together, it's on record. It's not just people out in the streets. And obviously we need people out in the streets as often as we can possibly get out there. There was a huge protest in Washington, D.C. yesterday, which Matt Orfalo, who's our guest later in the hour, was actually at. So we will be talking with him about his experience there. There were several smaller sister protests all around the country. There was a big gathering in New York City as well. But the fact that there was this formal and organized, on the record, on the books case made against Israel in that way is really significant, and that significance not lost on the crowd of people outside there. I'll play this video one more time just with the sound off, and then Russell, what do you have to say about this?
That's just an absolutely beautiful moment, and being in the heart of, as some would have it, the evil empire. It's really a rebuke to us. You know, we in our mythology and our films, we love the story of the rebel, right? The most obvious example being the Star Wars franchise, of the rebellious underdogs overcoming the evil empire, because we're born in that myth, right? We overthrow this monarchy to establish our freedoms. And I think that's part of why it is so difficult for us to wrap our heads around the idea that we're the empire. And you look at these people, and they are the rebels. They are the people who are on the side of good and decency, trying to defend themselves against this impossibly powerful enemy. And even within these horrific conditions, finding a core humanity, finding moments like that. And it's just very beautiful to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And seizing upon the opportunity to take this to court, to bring this into a setting where we usually don't see these kinds of arguments. These are the kinds of arguments we usually hear outside in the street, where they can marginalize the riffraff who are screaming with their signs and causing a ruckus, right? You bring that into a courtroom where, and we did most of our coverage of the trial itself, we covered on the Jimmy Dore show. We did a little bit here on our show. But if you saw the arguments side by side, no doubt to any impartial observer who had the stronger arguments there. And so great to see the South Africa team be greeted by the people who they were truly in there representing the people of the world, people who are very often cast aside as the, quote, rest of the world, the global South, which just so happens to constitute a majority of the world population. Yet somehow they're the rest of the world, not us.
Right. We are the world. We are the children, and they are the barbarian hordes outside the gates. And even if we don't say it that way, if you actually look at the subtext of so much of how we describe the rest of the world, that's what we're saying. They are the uncivilized barbarian hordes, and we have got to maintain this militaristic posture lest they overwhelm our superior civilization. That is the formulation at the heart of our imperial project, whether we want to say it that way or not. It's gone out of fashion to say it quite that way, but we essentially do if you take apart a lot of media articles describing the rest of the world. It's just built, it's baked in.
Please clap.